Hey, it's Coach Anderson here again from Mississippi Public Broadcasting Online, U.S. History from 1877 to present. Today we're going to pick up with Unit 6, World War I, and we're going to talk about lesson number 8, which is going to be a lesson on our summative assessments. What we have done, of course, throughout this particular chapter is we've introduced a unit-focused question. And that unit-focused question is what factors caused World War I and caused the United States of America's involvement. Well, we told you that when we think about World War I, we said there were 3 isms and alliances. And the isms include militarism, imperialism, of course, and nationalism, and then the secret alliances. This would never have been a world war. It would never have even probably made the history books very, very much had it not been for the secret alliances, of course, that drew the big nations, of course, of the rest of the world into this particular conflict. When you look at this map that we have up here, if you'll look at this particular map, one of the things that you'll notice that this area that highlighted in blue, of course, were all the allies, of course, involved in World War I. And then if you look at these burnt orange looking colors, those were the Central Powers. The point that we wanted to make to you is that when you look at the map of the world in this particular conflict, most of the world, of course, is involved in the conflict. And that's the thing that we wanted to make sure that we highlighted for you. So when you look at World War I, if it had not been for the secret alliances involved in the conflict, it would not have been that much of a big deal when it comes to the history of the rest of the world. So militarism, imperialism, nationalism, secret alliances were the causes of World War I, and what impact did they have in terms of on the rest of the world? Well, it changed the map of Europe by breaking up, of course, the Ottoman Empire and then, of course, the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It created deeper grievances, of course, between nations. You're going to find that nations like France and Germany are going to have a tremendous problem after this particular war, and they're going to basically hate one another. And because of that hate, we're going to find that the United States of America is going to be pulled into another conflict that starts out, of course, with the French, the British, of course, and the Germans. And these were things that in the minds of many believe that could have been solved had they paid attention to Wilson, of course, in the 14 points. They did, but they didn't take it as seriously as they possibly should have. Another impact, of course, is going to be the fear of communism that will start in our country because of the Bolshevik Revolution, and then destroyed the European landscape and set the stage for, of course, for World War II. What we're going to do now is look at a few practice questions, of course, to get you ready for the map assessment, of course, that will take place at some point this year, of course, whether it is the benchmark tests, of course, that are being given, or be, of course, the map assessment that's been given in the spring. Which statement most accurately details the Supreme Court decision in U.S. versus Schenck that individual rights are unconditionally guaranteed during wartime? Peacetime individual rights are off limits to the government. During wartime, individual rights may be limited if they're a clear and present danger, or D, government can't restrict free speech. Well, the answer, of course, was Schenck. And what it basically said is that any time that the government saw a clear and present danger in terms of looking at those rights, of course, that you were given, they may be limited, of course, during wartime. Another practice question, use the following to answer a list to answer the question: the use of unrestricted submarine warfare, the Zimmerman telegram, George Crill's use of propaganda. What impact did the factors listed have on World War I? A, start of World War I. B, the sinking of the Lusitania. C, American doughboys are sent to Europe. D, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. And the answer is U.S. becomes involved in the war, and we send American doughboys, of course, to Europe to fight. The next question, use the list to answer the question: the introduction of the tank, the invention of airplanes, zeppelins, the use of machine guns, and the use of poison gas. Which of the following World War I impacts was least influenced by the list? Least influenced. A, 17 million deaths. B, the nickname given to World War I as the Great War. C, the Russians drop out of fighting in World War I. D, the bloodiest conflict in the history of mankind to that point occurred. And the answer would be the Russians, of course, dropping out of the fighting, of course, World War I. Now, that did happen, but it wasn't influenced, of course, by those other things that we see up there. All right, which of the following features of the Treaty of Versailles did the irreconcilables oppose? And the answer, of course, the U.S. would have to join the League of Nations. Practice questions, which of the following effects did the Bolshevik Revolution not have on post-World War I America? A, America failed to ratify the Treaty of Versailles. The Palmer raids happened. C, thousands of Russian immigrants were deported from the United States. Further limitations were placed on immigration, and the answer is America failed to ratify the Treaty of Versailles. All right, those are some of the sample map test questions, of course, that you could possibly see, of course, at the end of the year or even on your benchmark test. So make sure that if you have not written them down, go ahead and write those questions down, of course, and put them as a study guide, of course, that you can refer back to before you take those particular assessments. Once again, this is Coach Anderson from Mississippi Public Broadcasting Online. This is U.S. History, which means it's your history. We'll see you next time.